Hey everyone, I'm Pablo Raul, ski mountaineering coach, and welcome to the Global Skimo YouTube channel. Today I'm here just like we've done with the skis and with binding to give you the range of poles or how to choose that ideal pole for your activities, depending on what your goal in the mountain is. We're going from competition to free ride, covering all the disciplines in between. To begin with, if our goal is competition, we will go straight to a pole, a single section pole, to achieve that maximum rigidity, that most effective traction, and ensure that all the force we apply to the pole is transmitted in its entirety, are truly beneficial and move us forward. My recommendation is to look for a carbon pole, since it is much more rigid, and for that force transmission it works really well. Right, and on top of that, it makes it super light. As for the features I would ask for in a competition pole, mainly that the tip is made of carbide, diagonally and with this type of finish, since on hard snow and stepped on snow is the one that works best and with which we can apply the most force to the pole. The basket can be small if we are going to practice it mainly on the track. And in the case of this Menza race pole, you have the option to swap them with larger baskets. Just grip it tightly, and in a screw-on way, you end up removing the tip. And you can swap it for bigger baskets for powder snow, where we need the extra surface area so the pole doesn't sink as much. And as for the grip, we usually have two options, a classic grip in ring shape. Which one should we grab from the bottom up? And we need to lean, well, here. We can rely on the Lecky system that more and more people use in the competition world. For its practicality and its force transmission are much more effective. It's simply having a strap at the base with those features that cover your whole hand, but with the convenience of freeing you from the pole, and it connects you to it very easily. So we have those advantages of a full hand strap, where when applying force, all the force goes exactly to the point of the pole that we want, and the freedom that when we need to handle the material, it transitions smoothly. With a click we free ourselves, put the poles aside, maneuver, and when it's time to leave, by just inserting the ring into the pole, we already have it in place. This pole also supports, instead of this one type strap system, simply having a glove that molds to the pole. If you're interested in this video, subscribe to the channel because I'll upload it in the coming weeks. Now that we have finished this part of the competition, we are going to take things further, just as we did with the skis and bindings. That profile, that user who still likes the light to go aerobic, where the ascent is quite important and therefore also the weight. But that its purpose is not directly competition, but we're talking about the speed touring family, going fast without it being a competition. For this kind of situations, I would focus on two main options. One can be a pole, just like the single piece rigid competition one. I would look for a material a bit more durable than carbon that gives us a bit more reliability, such as aluminum in this case of the Mezza train. A bit heavier, but as a trade-off, there's a lower chance of breaking the pole in case of we fall on it. So it could be a very good option, a rigid single piece pole. It won't cause us any problems, we won't have issues in the mountains with it, and it will perform well for the features we need. For this speed touring profile, I find this cork here under the handle very interesting, especially for the less experienced. that we don't like facing a tough slope with very tall poles that don't provide good support and that make us have to stay higher up. So being able to grab the pole lower down thanks to this cork is very helpful for the slightly more challenging descent. And another option is, with a rigid pole we don't feel comfortable. We want to be able to shorten the pole if we come across a slope. For descents, using a shorter pole, and we want to switch to a pole per section, but we still want to maintain that lightness. We have this intermediate model that at first glance it looks just like those other models we've been talking about, but if you look closely it already has the speed lock system built in that allows us to adjust the height of the pole, and also adding a longer pole for the ascent, one that lets us transmit force well, so we can shorten it on the way down to be comfortable and have better pole control. This one specifically has one body made of aluminum and another of carbon. So it's a 2-section pole, but it's quite light. And regarding the grip, it now features an air-gun grip with foam that it feels pleasant to the touch. Your hand rests comfortably thanks to its curvature. On the back here, we also have a bulkier head, in case at some point we want to grab the top of the pole to some approach walking or a very steep section where we prefer to lean on that upper part of the pole. It already comes with that ergonomics designed for this purpose. And after talking about the speed touring family, we take it a step further and let's go to the biggest one, where there's more variety. Users who are into ski touring for excursions, the weight is still considered, but it's no longer the main factor. We consider more of a difference, but we seek comfort. We're looking for performance, and for that we have more range, right? Here, generally speaking, I would look for a 2-section pole, which is much stronger than the 3-section one. About this and the pros and cons, I have a video you can check out. I will leave it above for you. And with this 2-part system, we can adjust a slightly longer length for going up and shorter for going down. Plus, the handle, we keep this one we mentioned before, with foam, with a part here, to grip more comfortably in case we want to hold it from the bottom. Also that upper part, where we could grab it on certain occasions. And the main difference with this other model we were talking about, mainly intended for speed touring, as the tip it has is not that competitive tip. That sharp tip designed only for hard snow or more centered on that, but we have a 360-degree tip with a thread around that makes it very effective for hard snow. But now it works in 360 degrees, so it doesn't matter what angle we stick the pole at any level. The basket also changes a lot. We have a more circular basket, and this one specifically has this shape that isn't circular. So that with this flatter side, being able to adjust the bindings, raise a lift, and handle all of this more easily, especially in case of snow clog. On the skin on the ski sole, we might be able to remove it with the same basket. Here we start talking about aluminum poles, focusing more on durability, more than that transmission of force and that rigidity given by carbon. And yes, in terms of weight, despite not being carbon, the poles are quite light with this aluminum material. In this family of touring poles, there is more variety, and what mainly differentiates them is the diameter of the pole. Generally, the larger the diameter, the more resistant the pole will be. It will also gain a little more weight, so for those heavier skiers, we'll go with slightly thicker shafts, and for lighter skiers, we can go for narrower shafts, making them a bit lighter. And finally, we come to this family from free touring or free ride, where the main goal is the descent and safety during those descents. Here, as a general rule, what we look for in the pole is for it to be even more resistant, so that the pole can withstand quite hard falls. It will also be useful if it's adjustable, so we can wear a different size on the way up than on the way down, although we might decide otherwise. Using a one-size-fits-all and a shorter pole, and that's it. The climb is really just about approach, not so much big routes. And the most interesting feature, that's why I specifically chose the Speedfire 3D. The grip is designed so that in case of a fall, or if it doesn't, well, if you catch an avalanche, it can jump and free us from the pole. This is very interesting because in the case of an avalanche, for example, if we were caught with the wrist strap held, the stick would act as an anchor and drag us deep. We would end up at the bottom of the tank and couldn't stay at the highest point because of the anchors that the poles and skis act as, and we have them attached. And in case of a fall, while we're here looking bad, the one with the stick, it stays tied to us. It is very dangerous from the perspective of shoulder injuries. The arm in general, because it gets stuck and doesn't twist, or even the typical skier's finger when you fall with the pole, it hurts your thumb. Well, with the technology that Lecky incorporates, the pole jumps and releases you automatically. It's not just comfortable, as we mentioned earlier, than the fact we were coming in and out, but that in case of a fall, and I'm gonna do it suddenly so it triggers, notice how I don't touch the button. And if we apply more than 20 kilograms to the pole, it automatically releases. I hope you found this video useful, summarizing all the possible ski pole models, and that you have found your ideal model. Leave me a like if that's the case, and about this technology from the Lecky pole that releases in case of a fall. Here is a video where I explain it in more depth. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and we'll see each other soon with another video. Goodbye.